think a really good remembrance to the people from Harrietsham who lost their lives in both of the World Wars. We now have another target, which is to raise the money to improve the access around the War Memorial, and hopefully Jenny's successor will be able to support us in our efforts on that. Perhaps you'll put in a good word for us. But thank you very much, Jenny, for all your support over the last few years.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to say it before we get started?
Yeah. Is this a time that we are allowed to ask questions?
Yes, please do.
Oh, right.
Yes, yeah.
Part of the reason for coming tonight is to try and understand why the precept had gone up. And I'd like to understand whether it is because of extra cost, or is it because the grants have gone down? What is it that's made it go up by such a big number?
It's quite interesting you say that, because obviously it all starts at... I'm going to read something because I've come pre-prepared for that, because that's the one question I thought I might get tonight. Yeah. And budgets are being cut everywhere for reasons. Expenditure is needed. It's coming at high levels now. I think Jenny just highlighted, the roads need repairing. We've got an aged population. We've got a larger growing population, etc. And it all takes money. And there's only so much money in the pot. And what actually kind of filters down affects what we do. Affects what we do, what we can spend. And sometimes we think to ourselves, well, if we want to keep these additional things, if we want to be in a position where we're actually giving grants and whatever, then we've got a choice. Either we say no, or we raise the precepts as we had to do this year. In an ideal situation, we'd never raise it. But unfortunately, this year has hit us harder than most. But I've pre-prepared something, so please let me read it out. Yeah. Whilst there is a lot of building going on at the moment, the Parish Council will only see income from the start of the first full financial year after they are occupied. Because a question that's being asked is, if you've got all these extra properties with all this extra council tax, remember there's a very, very small fraction of council tax that is actually retained by certainly Maidstone Borough Council, and even less that comes back to us. Because Maidstone Borough Council assessed the number of properties upon which the parish precepts will be shared in December or January before the start of that year. Thus, if someone moves into their new house in February 2017, and although the resident will pay the full council tax, including the parish precept, and including the part year for which they are in, we won't see any income until the April 2018, which is 14 months afterwards, as the funds stay with MBC. In 2016-17, MBC told us we had 1,020.2 properties paying council tax, which rose to 1,077.9 for 2017-18. So with all the new building that is going on, we only saw an additional 57 new taxpayers. Yes, it is possible to have a decimal of a property, because that's the calculations that Maidstone give us. Maidstone turns all properties into an average Band D property by means of a formula, thus giving a level basis upon which to calculate the parish precept for a property. This figure is then increased or reduced to the correct band for the property. And just on a personal level, that causes so many different issues, and the letters that I get and emails from people that are saying they're in the wrong band, that's something completely else. We will presumably see a significant increase in the number of houses occupied over the next 8 months or so to December 2017, but we won't see any money or benefit from that until April 2018. As to the budget itself, which is what generated the increase in the parish precept, there are two main factors. Firstly, we have seen a reduction in grant income from last year to this. This is a process that has been going on for many years and which we have generally been able to absorb. This time around, this reduction came to about £3,500 from the abolition of the Central Government Local Council Tax Support Scheme, the LCTS, and a reduction in NBC's Parish Services Scheme, the PSS, with no other source of funding. This money has to be recovered through the precept. Secondly, in this current year, we are seeing a number of new commitments coming through. We are gaining a new parish office, which will be in a more central position within the village, thereby we hope improving accessibility and the service we can offer. This will need fitting out, including a provision of a lift for disabled access, and then subsequently run. As the building work on the old CTRL site comes to an end, we should be taking over a significant tract of new public land, which will need maintenance. And we bought for public use a field behind the church 3 years ago. This has, in those 3 years, had no money spent on it, and it now requires some care and attention. In addition, during the last year, under the auto-enrolment legislation, the council had to provide a pension scheme to its staff. This came in during the latter half of the year, and this current year will see the full year cost having its impact. As I say, unfortunately, parish councils are very constrained in where they can get money, certainly regular money. From in effect, all these have to be funded by the residents, who hope, we agree, are still getting a reasonable value for money. Although the 58.5% increase is certainly an eye-catching headline figure, it is worth bearing in mind that the precept in 2015-16 for an average Band D property was £55 per year. In 2016-17, this figure was still £55 per year. For 2017-18, it has increased to £87.16, which is an increase of 61.84p per house per week, or less than a loaf of bread in the Lennon Co-op. It is, in fact, a small change on a small figure, and it produces a massive percentage. I'm hoping that gives you an explanation. It's certainly not a position that I want to be in or to propose, but sometimes things are just beyond our control because we have no way of raising additional monies.
Well, the words sound all right, but there's no numbers to them.
Sorry, are we going to get sorry, we're going to get
It's the numbers I was looking for. I can't find anything in your report now. I can't find anything on the website. All I get is 58%. I look at the grant that you're reducing, that's 5,000, I think, this year. Even if you reduce that, if that goes to nothing, then that would only be a 10% increase.
Sorry, that's a lot better.
I was looking for numbers rather than just words, and I can't find the numbers anywhere. I was hoping I would see them. That's last year, not this year, and it's this year we're talking about, not what's in the leaflet. As I say, I looked on the website, I couldn't find anything. I did talk to Mike about a month ago, and I really, with all due respect to him, I didn't get the numbers that I was looking for. All I'm after is a budget, and I thought I'd see one tonight, and I obviously haven't.
The purpose of this evening's meeting is to go over the figures for last year, which is why I haven't got the budget for this year.
Do you want Mike? Do you want to speak to this?
The purpose of the meeting is to go over the figures for last year, which is why the booklet covers last year's accounts. The budget figures are agreed and they're put forward originally in November and then agreed at January council meetings, and that's all publicly available information. So if you want, you can send your copy.
Well, that's what I was looking for. I looked on the website, couldn't find it. But if it's on the website, then it's my...
Well, I don't think I'm not sure, but I mean, the figures themselves are they not secret, but you can have them if you want.
I would like them. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm after.
Give me a notice of your email address before we go and answer you.
No, so it's an extremely good question, so much so that I'm pre-prepared for it. I was expecting it. Thanks ever so much for doing that, because it's given an opportunity to explain the one thing that every single chairman of every parish council within Maidstone's having to go through exactly the same thing. I think the people in Harrietsham are far politer than they are in some of the other areas, from what I can understand. Thank you. Yeah. Is there any other Audrey?
No, I just wanted to ask a question because I'm confused about the neighbourhood plan. We don't have a neighbourhood plan now, do we?
Talk into the microphone.
I am talking.
Yes, you're
We don't have a neighbourhood plan now. So what do we have? Anything?
We don't, but every single application will be treated within its own merit now that Maidstone have adopted theirs. So once Maidstone have adopted theirs and those particular sites that are already being built on, there isn't anything else that is actually planned to be built within Harrietsham that is within Maidstone's plan. So it doesn't make a lot of difference whether we did or whether we didn't at this particular stage, because we can still use Maidstone's plan to get rid of something if we want to or if we needed to. Does that make sense?
So why did we have a neighbourhood plan in the first place and spend all that money?
Well, I can't answer that question because I wasn't. Does anyone answer that? Yeah, I wasn't
I
around.
suppose when the neighbourhood plan started its process, none of the developments were.
But I thought if we had a neighbourhood plan, it was hoped that we would be able to pick where we wanted the buildings if it was approved.
Yeah. Can I just say that? Sorry. No, can I just say that is indeed the theory that we could pick and choose as a local community where the development goes on within our community. I sit on the planning committee at Maidstone. Can I tell you the reality of that is the complete opposite. It seems to be wherever developers and officers within Maidstone Council, and I hope this goes public and somebody releases it, because this is a bugbear of my life at the moment, they seem to be able to, they've got a law unto themselves, they can do what they want, and it's only the people within the planning committee at Maidstone that can stop them doing that. And even sometimes then it goes to an inspector that decides. So although there was a Localism Act, which in theory, us lot should be able to choose, the reality of that is we have to fight on every single case that comes forward to us, which is completely and utterly unfair. And that's probably the reason why you're asking that question.
So were we misled initially?
Were we misled initially? Well, I would say we've been misled now.
Yeah.
So now the reality is, because initially we don't know what we're being misled for, it's only when each and every individual development site comes up and it is discussed and it's voted on and it's taken away and legal come back and say you can't do that, that there's a reality check here, and the reality is it's not necessarily the local people that decide on where that property goes.
It just agrees with me that all the time that was put in over several months, the money that was spent, that's all gone. As I said, that's
You're absolutely. You're okay. No, okay. I did see another hand go up back there. Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Can you tell me why Maidstone Council have a meeting and invite people to go and put forward the suggestions that they require and not take any notice because they've already made up their mind at 11 o'clock really the day before what they're going to do. So the people won't go and say they're still, and they have people sitting around the table, all talking to each other, not listening to what the person's saying because their minds have already been made up. I think it's absolute disgrace.
Right. Can I say firstly that I'm one of those people that sit around the table, and I can assure you that I take on board what people say, what people talk about, and this is we've got a massive great big case coming up tomorrow evening, which is Woodcut Farm, any of you that have looked in the local paper, and there is a battle going on there. I can't say anything because I've been predetermined on that particular case, but there are a number of people. What it is, the members make the decision, and the officers, which are the people that actually work for Maidstone Council, often disagree. That becomes the battle.
But the point was, what I'm trying to make is that people went there gave their time to speak to the council, but the decision had already been made at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were there at 7:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
So therefore, those people who went to talk, it was a complete waste of time.
Well, any decision can be overturned by the planning committee, and I can assure you that I've never been in the council at 11 o'clock in the morning talking about planning applications and coming with in that particular evening. And I've also supported Harrietsham on virtually every planning application that's come through, because I've been very, some people would disagree with me, but I felt that we've had too much and too close a time within this area, and it's caused severe pressures, as I mentioned earlier on. Well, yes, sorry, I've just been asked, could you tell me what particular application you was referring to?
The Hook Lane development.
The Hook Lane development. Well, I wasn't involved with the Hook Lane development, that was before my time. But I've certainly been involved with the CTRL and the other two developments either side of Church Road. So it's,
I haven't bothered to read it since, because it's all cut and dry before you go there. So.
Yeah. It's, I can only say from the way that I see it, but I do know that the officers might put forward recommendations that they often do, but the members of the council can overturn and sometimes do overturn those officers' recommendations. And I tend personally to be one of those people that don't believe in rural villages being built up and turned into small towns. So that's my personal point of view. I'm not suggesting that other members would necessarily feel kind of, and even on the county level, I think Jenny is exactly, we're exactly the same on that one as well. But my concern is protecting Harrietsham and protecting the people and protecting the services. I don't think that generally across Maidstone that always happens. Sorry, I'm taking any more questions.
Sorry, can I ask a question this time?
Yes.
Thank you. We have two big developments going on off the A20 at the moment, and I'm sure everybody in the village is concerned about the volume of traffic that goes through the village, and with likely more development in Lenham, possibly up to 1,200 new homes there, the majority of the traffic is going to head through Harrietsham. Now, obviously there is a lot of problems with crossing the road. I live a little bit further out of the village, opposite Lenmead, but if I want to cross the road to go across to see Dual Bishop or Mike Bishop there, sometimes it takes me about 10 minutes to actually cross the road. Now, there were plans, there was plans within the neighbourhood plan when it was being drawn up to A, slow the traffic down through the village, and B, put in more crossings so that it would be safer for people to cross the road. Could somebody give us a progress report on that?
At the first meeting, Councillor Thompson actually went
Sorry,
out.
they won't be able to hear you, Amanda.
At the earlier meeting this evening, Tom Sands went out part of a meeting report that just happened. The Joint Transportation Board had a meeting where they discussed the A20 improvements. It was quite a lengthy statement. I'm actually going to print it into the minutes. The fact that they are looking at the amount of money they've got towards the project so far, and it's how they're going to find the money that's still needed for the rest of it, because it looks like they're looking to do it as a whole sort of package.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to put that in the minutes, so you can actually regard. In fact, I can send it to you. As I'm copying it into that, I can put it in the
Okay, thank you.
Just a short summary on that is, what we're hoping they're going to do is to reduce the width of the A20 and reduce the speed limit as well. So that's a start. Now, whether that actually kind of happens, please don't hold us to that, because what is said, as you mentioned just now, what is done. But that's what was discussed at the JTB.
And there has been, as you know, Peter, for a long time, lots and lots of work going on to try and get that done before the houses were occupied.
Yeah.
And there was a huge amount of meetings, and we've kicked and kicked and kicked, and unfortunately they have found no way to... Sorry, I'm just saying there's been a huge amount of work to try and get the road remodelled before the houses were completed and occupied, and there's been lots of people involved in that, and unfortunately through KCC and NBC have not been able to find a way of releasing the money from the developers before the houses are occupied, and they've looked lots of different ways and we weren't able to do that. And you know, everyone would agree that the speed's got to be reduced, it's got to be narrowed, and hopefully this will be done as a whole. But there is a lot of work going on, and people are kicking a lot of bums to try and make sure that is done. And yes, it should have been done before, and that would have been the ideal, and that's what we all wanted.
The problem is that these we're going to see quite a big increase in the number of properties occupied before anything is done. So the traffic problem will be critical. It's like with the doctor's surgery and the comment earlier about the doctor's surgery beginning to creak. It's been creaking for months, and there has been money available, but nobody seems to have been able to put pressure on the practice to actually take some action to move things forward. Now, I know that this has changed recently. I went to a meeting where Fred, Stanley and Mac were both there with the practice, and at long last it does appear that they are moving things forward to get some drawings done of the proposals to extend the surgery. But these things seem to take forever.